Hello again. So for the first part of this whole series, I thought it would be best to talk about controlling the minions as well as trading with your enemy. I've decided to break this up into two smaller parts. Part 1 will be from level 1 to 4, when Pyke is at his weakest, whereas the second part will be from levels 5 onwards, where your damage is slightly higher, so you can start looking to secure some of those kills. So, let's get started. Levels 1 to 4 will be quite boring, because we'll be using a concept I like to call passive trading. When passive trading, you'll only be able to use your Q as a damage source, and your E and W will be used in order to sustain yourself or to keep yourself alive in different ways. The only exception to this is when you're being ganked by your jungler, or the opponent is heavily overextended and also in kill range. Unfortunately, early game trading with Pyke is almost non-existent, but in the rare cases that you actually can trade, you should definitely take full advantage. For example, let's look at some footage of me playing against the Zed. The first thing we need to take into account is that Zed is a melee range champion. This allows me to easily trade back and forth with him as long as I play it smart. By waiting for Zed to auto attack a minion, I can easily get off my Q and auto attack him in return, knowing that he won't be able to trade back as his attack animation is actually quite long. Noticing that he once again went in to take a minion, I then hit him with another auto attack, proccing my electrocute, giving me an instant lead on this lane. After I've won a trade or two using this method, I would simply use my W to heal for my passive, and my E to avoid ganks, until a kill presents itself. Once you have your lead, you simply need to let the wave push into you ever so slightly, which can be achieved through some very simple tricks that can be used in order to manipulate the enemy minions. Step 1. Once you know it's safe, shove into the enemy's tower. Step 2. Pay attention to what minions your opponent attacks and apply the same damage to the corresponding minions on their side. Their tower will do the rest. Step 3. Last hit minions and allow their wave to build up. Make sure you only do the last little sliver of damage and try to leave about 3 minions alive with at least 2 of them being caster minions. Notice how the Fizz can't farm? That's because the only way he can hit those minions is by overextending. In lower elos, people will be affected by this as much, but just tell your jungler you've got some sushi in the mid lane and let the overextended fish become a nice meal for 2. Once your minions start building up, shove it back into their tower and repeat the process, or recall if you have a nice stack of gold. The one thing that's good about Pyke is that as long as E and W are off cooldown, he is insanely hard to gank. Also, I kinda lost count while recording this audio, but it was over 23 minions missed in 5 waves. That's over 75% of the minions. Gotta give myself a pat on the back for that. I feel I've done pretty well. Now, for the second part, level 5+. At this point, you should hopefully either have a solid item in order to increase your damage due to your recall, or an XP lead over your opponent, as well as some HP lead due to some well-placed harass, coupled with some nice wave control. So, what's next? Well, now you actually get to start having fun. Pyke's best form of engage is this very simple combo: auto, Q, auto, E, auto, R. I felt it was very important to mention the auto attacks because I see a lot of people neglecting the free damage that auto attacks actually give to any champion, never mind like AD orientated ones such as Pyke. Now, let's explain why this combo is the best as well as the safest. Pyke's Q applies the slow, making so the enemy will either need to use a summoner spell or some form of dash to dodge his E. The reason why it is important to use his E before the ultimate is due to the stun effect his E will give, as well as the fact that his ultimate has a small wind up that can be dodged otherwise. If they blow an ability to dodge your E, you just got off a free Q and potentially your enemy's flash. Wait for your next chance to do it and then do it again. If you land your E, you get a free ultimate and hopefully a kill on top of that. And to top this combo off, you still have access to your W, which you can now use to escape incoming ganks, heal with your passive. Just don't use it to chase down that last bit of damage on a kill. It'll literally get you killed every time. Anyway, that's all for now. There's more complicated things I could mention, but I don't really want to pour too much information into one video, so we'll set those tricks aside for a different one. Not that it really matters anyway, because
we'll all be underwater soon.
Hello once again. I would like to apologise for the kind of rushed content. From now on it'll be a lot better because Pyke just hit live. But other than that, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like and even comment and tell me what I can do to improve. Anyway, thanks once again. Peace out.